Excellent!
What's up guys, Paul here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of this tablet. This is the ASUS Memo Pad HD7. This is my first ever tablet that I've actually gone out and bought. I actually got this a couple months ago, been using it so I can give you guys a full review on my thoughts and opinions and actual some use case scenarios. And also when I got it, I immediately wanted to open it and start using it, so that's kind of how that came about. This is a more budget-oriented tablet. The MSRP is about $150. To that end, I also have gotten a budget-oriented tablet case. I've actually been using this without a case for quite some time. I decided I wanted to get a case. I got this one from the Newegg Marketplace. It's a bit cheaper than the official ASUS one, so I'll be doing a quick unbagging or whatever of this. This is the RuCase Origami Folio case cover with stylus for ASUS Memo Pad HD7, as well as a full review of the ASUS Memo Pad HD7. Here goes. So let's start off with the why question. Why did I buy this product? Well, basically doing what I do, I should probably have a tablet. So I decided to jump in and get this one. I've never really been all that interested in the premium tablets, the $400 plus, $400 to $600 plus ones like the iPads, or even a $200 plus tablet for that matter. I personally see this as more as an occasional use device. It's not really a PC replacement for me. I'm not going to do the types of things on this that I do with my desktop computer. So I didn't want to spend a ton of money, but I saw the specs and the price point for the ASUS Memo Pad HD7 at Computex this year. I saw that it is basically like a first gen Nexus 7 with some upgrades to it, so that was pretty compelling for me. And for 150 bucks, I was like, oh, well, that seems pretty reasonable. Speaking of which, doing a quick unboxing here, you can see as far as what comes in the box. Basically, you get an AC adapter, micro USB power cable for charging and data transfer, as well as the documentation and warranty information. The root case pretty much comes with the plastic covering, a stylus pen, and the root case itself, and that's pretty much going to wrap it up for my root case review. This is just a pretty decent quality little cover, protection cover and stand, and it's way cheaper than the ASUS one, which is I think is like 40 or 45 bucks. But let's move on to the specs for the Memo Pad HD7. First off, the screen, which is undoubtedly one of the best features of this. It's a 7-inch 1280 by 800 IPS display. Again, pretty much the same one you're going to get on a first-gen Nexus 7. You get 16 gigabytes of integrated storage, and you get a micro USB slot, and that was absent on the first-gen Nexus 7. So that's a huge bonus, because even with 16 gigs, which is pretty decent for a tablet, micro USB slot, you can add up to 64 gigs more depending on your preference. Powering the device, we have a 1.2 gigahertz MediaTek MT8125 quad-core Cortex A7 ARM processor. So that's a MediaTek one. If you haven't heard of them, that's because they're a bit more on the budget line, but this processor has plenty of chops for handling basic tableting tasks. For graphics, you have a 286 megahertz PowerVR SGX 544 MP1 GPU, and this is a pretty decent GPU. It's not top of the line by any means. I would not compare it to, for instance, a Tegra 4 or even a Tegra 3 for that matter. When it comes to graphics, I've only done a bit of light gaming on this, and it's been okay. I wouldn't recommend it for the latest tablet or Android games if they're pushing the 3D pixels a little bit harder, but for basic gaming and day-to-day tasks, it's perfectly adequate. You get 1 gigabyte of integrated DDR3 memory, and for a wireless connection, you get 802.11bgn Wi-Fi. It only has a single 2.4 gigahertz antenna, which is, I mean, not the favorite, but again, for simple tasks that I've been using it for, even for streaming video, it's been just fine. Also Bluetooth and GPS integrated. Size-wise, it's 7.7 inches by 4.7 inches by 0.4 inches. And if you're a metric user, it's 196.8 millimeters by 120.6 millimeters by 10.8 millimeters, and it weighs 10.7 ounces. ASUS is providing this in a variety of colors. This is the blue one, which has a matte finish. There's also a black matte finish available, although it was not available on Newegg when I bought this. Otherwise, I probably would have gone with the black. And then it's also available in white, pink, and green glossy finishes, which I've heard have a bit of a cheaper feel to them, but I have the matte one, which I like. The build is plastic. It's not the greatest, but this is more of a budget tablet, so it's kind of what you might expect. You get a micro USB port, a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, a micro SD card slot, and then you also have volume and power buttons. I'm not ecstatic about the placement of these. They're a little bit difficult to reach at times, but again, it's passable, so not too many problems with that. You get stereo speakers, although you can't really see them. It does have stereo, and the sound is actually pretty decent as well. And then you get a 5 megapixel rear-facing camera, as well as a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, which is also quite cool if you want to do video chat or that sort of thing. You totally can. For software, it ships with Android 4.2.2, and ASUS has only done some minor modifications to the UI. You have an ASUS keyboard and an ASUS notification tray, and you can fairly easily go into the settings and turn those off and switch back to the native Android keyboard and notification tray if you want. I haven't found that necessary to do so far, although I might do it with the keyboard because I'm not a huge fan of the autocomplete on it thus far. You get an ASUS camera app and a few other apps that are integrated. The camera app's actually also pretty decent, and as long as you have plenty of light, this takes okay pictures as well. Although again, that's not really what I bought it for. You also have the ability to do floating apps and widgets, which I haven't played around with too much, but that's one of the more recent functionalities built into Android 4.2.2. So if you are wanting to multitask on your tablet, floating apps and widgets can kind of give you a simpler way to do that. What I have actually used this for so far here at home is primarily web browsing while sitting on the couch. I can do some music and video playback, so if I'm going around doing chores or cooking some food or something like that, I can sort of set this up, and it gives me a much larger viewable screen than, say, my cell phone, so it's nice for watching videos and stuff. Or just playing music. I have Pandora installed, so I can run some streaming music and also play music directly off of the SD card or from my network as well, which is cool while I'm at home. Also, I've used this with my HTPC since I have a Seaton Infinity card. Seaton also has an app. It's $5, but I did buy it because Steve recommended it, and I've actually quite enjoyed it. You can use the app to control Media Center, or Windows Media Center. You can use it to schedule recordings, and it's much easier to do than using just a simple mouse or even the directional interface with the remote. And then I actually used it as a replacement remote control too when my remote went out, although it's working again, so I don't need it anymore. But the Seaton app is also pretty useful for that. I brought it to work a few times to use it for web browsing, like if I'm doing video operation or camera operating and I have some downtime, so I can pop up some web pages or whatever and do some research or look up stuff. Also, found it very useful to do data entry while I'm running benchmarks. Since I have the Google Drive app installed, I can pull up my shared spreadsheet, for example, where I store all of my benchmarks, and it makes a really easy way to do data entry while I'm not having to use the computer that I'm benchmarking on, since usually I'm disconnected from the internet while I benchmark. And also, I've been using it for taking down notes while I film videos from time to time, or reading off notes while I film videos. So also pretty useful there. So that's pretty much the specs, and that's what I've been using it for. So let's get on to some opinion here, some review stuff. So I'm going to kind of separate this out. First, I'll talk about the build quality, and the build quality is okay. Again, this is a budget tablet. You're not going to find the sort of rubberized finished or the really sturdy, nice heft in the hand type of build quality that you would with like a higher end iPad or higher end tablets that are available from ASUS even for that matter. So I give it a 7 for build quality. It's still sturdy enough. You might notice here on the corner, for example, some of the finish is actually rubbed off. That's part of why I got the carrying case for it. But yeah, okay build quality, just a 7. You're not going to be blown away by it or anything. Performance, again, is okay. I would give it a 7, but I'm going to bump it up to an 8 because the screen is so nice. Again, this is not quite the same display quality as like the new Nexus 7, but equal or better than the old Nexus 7. So very nice screen quality. It's an IPS screen, which is great to have for a tablet at this price point. And then as far as performance otherwise, as far as just web browsing or navigation, the snappiness of it is pretty decent. I will notice some slowdown and some stutters here and there. It's nothing that I've not encountered with just about any Android device that I've tried to use here and there. But you will notice this doesn't have the top of the line processor, so it's not going to be quite as buttery smooth. But again, for just basic web browsing and everything, totally fine, and nothing that I would even really complain about if I wasn't doing a dedicated review. Battery life is something I should mention. It's got a 15 watt-hour battery, and I've found that it will easily last 2 to 3 or even more days than that with light or medium use. But that's with pretty random use, only using it in the evening or whatever. If you are using it continuously, you can expect about 8 hours. ASUS will list up to 10, but I found closer to 8, so if you're going to be taking this on a plane or something like that, you can watch several movies of it back to back, movies or TV shows or whatnot. So great for long plane rides or something like that, maybe a long car ride or a car trip. If you're going to be doing video playback or web browsing, that's the kind of battery life you should expect. For value, I would say that it is fantastic, and again, that's a really big reason why I went with this laptop, due to the price points and the performance of it. So I give it a 9 for value, which gives it an overall score of 8. And I might be refining my scoring methods here in the future, but that's what we'll finish on. An overall score of 8, so again, totally acceptable and adequate, and I'd say quite nice for everything I've bought it for. I'm very happy with my purchase so far, and this has been a fantastic tablet for me, and it's pretty much done everything I've asked it to do. So if you're interested in a tablet this holiday season, check it out. I'll post a link down in the video description. And if you're looking for something just kind of a step up from here, the Nexus 7 from Google is a fantastic one as well. I know Kyle has one of those. He did a video of it over on Awesome Sauce News, so check. At least I think he did. I know he got it. If he didn't do a video on it, he's really missing out. But Memo or the Nexus 7, fantastic upgrade option for this if you want to spend maybe $70-80 more. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to leave me a comment on how you felt about this tablet, or if you enjoy tablets at all, or if you think that this is a much more reasonable proposition, especially if compared to like an iPad mini or something like that. But yeah, leave me many comments. I appreciate all of the words. I appreciate you guys watching this video as well. We'll see you all next time.